All right, here we are, building our first skill. If you haven't already, take a look at this video, give it a play. It'll kind of set the stage for the storytelling app we're going to build together. But this chapter, chapter 0, it's about reviewing the wireframes. So let's do that. We've broken up each of the experiences in this app into different chapters. So we have the bonus chapter, which is the onboarding. We're going to skip that one for now because that actually has a lot of functionality in it that we're going to cover in this previous chapter. So by the time we're done, you should actually be able to build the onboarding yourself without the walkthrough. But we're in the walkthrough now, so let's get started. Chapter 1, dashboard. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a skill view. Our root skill view, think of this as the index.html page in your website. It's the first thing that loads. We're going to ensure that you need to log in to view it. We're going to handle rendering a card, which is the primary building blocks of a view. In that card, we're going to put an image in the header, and then we're going to render some buttons. It's pretty simple. Take a look. Here is the landing page, which is the root skill view for your skill, and some in a header image and some buttons. Our family values, our family members, an ability to submit feedback, and ability to write a story. That's kind of the whole point of the thing. Okay, let's jump into chapter 2. Feedback. We're going to develop a simple feedback form to send a message to whomever you decide, probably yourself. This is going to involve rendering a dialogue, rendering a form. We're going to start to register events now. We're going to create an event, we're going to define it, we're going to emit it, and we're going to listen to it. So we're going to get the full end-to-end communication. Then we're going to send a message, and if anything goes wrong, we're going to render an alert. It looks something like this. We go to submit feedback, click it, renders a dialogue. We'll get some of this content in here. Here's one field, enter your feedback for ideas, questions, whatever. You can see down here the submit button's disabled, but you type into it, you can hit send now and sends a message. If anything were to fail, again, the skill goes down, there's an issue sending a message, it'll render an alert. Pretty easy. Now we're on to chapter 3, family values. This one is going to include a redirect. So we're going to get to do some routing. It's going to involve rendering a form. We've done that already, so it should go pretty quickly. We're going to do the entire event lifecycle, event creation lifecycle. So that's going to mean we're going to create an event and we're going to define it, then we're going to emit it, and we're going to create a listener. But we're going to take it one step further. We're actually going to persist some data this time. So saving it to a database, retrieving it. During our tests, the testing system is going to save everything into a MongoDB in-memory database. Then we're going to configure it to save and persist to a MongoDB locally, but this database adapter could be changed to any database you want. It's really simple CRUD operations on the family values. I guess crew, because we're not going to actually delete anything here. We're just going to create it, read it, and then update it in place. And then if anything fails, we're going to render an alert. And so it's going to look like this. We're going to be able to click family values. You're going to have your name, enter some values. You can see since this field is required, it's going to get mad at me. It's going to lock the submit button if that doesn't work. And I happen to have my family values just in my clipboard right here, ready to go. So Romero's are always curious, but know how to trust themselves. Romero's never give up, but know when to pivot. Romero's always try their best, but know when to take breaks. So on, so forth. That's saved. Hit go. If something were to error, we'd get an alert. We persisted it to the database, redirected back to the root skill view. So I should be able to go ahead and click family values, and it's persisted. Easy peasy. Okay, on to what's next. Chapter 4, your family members. A personalized bedtime story would not be complete without personalization. So we've got your family's name, values. Now it's going to be time to add some family members. So we're going to do another redirect. We're going to render a card, but now we're going to get to render a list. We're going to render a dialogue. That's what's going to pop up when you go to add or edit one of your family members. That dialogue is going to have a form in it. We're going to go through all the event creation, definition, emitting, listening. We're going to do some more data persistency, and then the usual alert if anything fails. But then we want the list to be updated in real time. So while you're adding or removing family members, the list needs to reflect your latest changes. And so that looks something like this. Click family members. Right now we've got me, we've got Taha, our technical writer, who's watching me record this now in real time and telling me how awful I'm doing. We'll be able to add a family member that pops up in the dialogue. We'll say that this is Brandon. We'll say he's not here right now. And because this is all going to be fed into a large language model, probably ChatGPT 4.0, since that's the hottest thing out right now, whatever you put in here will be fed into the prompt and will have a significant impact on the story. We hit go. That adds the row in real time. Then we can remove it. We are going to render a confirmation. If we hit no, as you imagine, nothing happens. But if we hit yes, that row gets dropped. The UI updates itself because the row's been removed. Everything resizes, and we're back. We hit done, and we're back to root. So we've got some confirmations. We're going to do some deletions. We're going to do hard delete for now, but doing a soft delete is not that difficult. And once you understand how the data store layer works, you'd be able to implement it yourself without a problem. Chapter 5A, configuring OpenAI. We're just going to log in, set up a project, set up an API key, hope that the way OpenAI does all this doesn't change too much by the time you're watching this, since it's already changed once while we were recording it. So we're going to just go through that. It'll take 5 minutes. It'll be really easy. We'll get an API key, and then that's what we're going to use going forward to interface with the large language model. Chapter 5B, generating your bedtime story. This is going to bring a lot of the things we've been working on together into one place. So we're going to handle the redirect, but now we're going to render multiple cards. As you can see here on the skill view on the left, right here, there are 4 cards that we're going to have, and we're going to have forms in each of them. And we're going to, in the skill view at a higher level of abstraction, manage all of these forms and their values to allow us to submit the story to get it written by taking all of the values from all of the forms and combining it into one event call. So there will be an event call for this. A thing that is going to be fun is normally in the way that Mercury is configured, there's a 30-second timeout to when an event is emitted. Emitting the event to generate the story is going to take longer than 30 seconds. So we're not going to wait for a response. We're actually going to fire it. And then on the skill side, we're going to emit events when it finishes. And then we're going to listen to the events instead of in the skill like we usually do. We're going to listen from the client, from the front end. We're going to look at how to emit an event to a person on their device, whether browser, if you're using the native app or the development theater, whatever it is. And so that's going to give us the ability to submit the story and sit while it generates, and then emit an event that's going to cause us to redirect to the generated story. So let's take a look at that. When we start here, we go write story. I'm going to resize this a little bit because I want to see it in a different layout. I'm going to pick some story elements. It's going to be Taya and Talha. And our current challenge, we are trying to build the best documentation on the planet. But the planet is big and the documentation is pretty good already. Hit write story. We render an alert. I'm writing your story now. It can take up to a minute, so hang tight. And I hit OK. We've got a little busy indicator on that to keep someone from submitting again. There it was. That actually was really fast. That might have been less than 30 seconds, but just to be safe, we're still going to break up the entire experience, the workflow, into an event to start generating the story and an event when it's finished. And here we go. We've got our story. So I'm just going to read this first paragraph. Once upon a time, In a busy, bustling city of Nova technology, the lights from towering skyscrapers gleamed like stars in the sky. Two brilliant minds. T, that's us. Tay and Taha Romero. Looks like you're my brother now, brother. We were working on a project that would change the world. As they sat in their cozy home office surrounded by screens and notes, they decided to take a well deserved break. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. If our story's starting with a break, maybe we're a little off the rails already. But you get the point. From here, we'll have some buttons to share, to generate again, or just to be done. And, well, it's the share button that's interesting. So let's jump into the next chapter. Chapter 6, Sharing Your Stories. This one's actually going to be pretty easy. The point of it is to demonstrate how you can work with other skills that already exist to create complete experiences. So we're going to utilize the invite skill. That means we're going to import the invite utilities. We're going to redirect to it using those utilities to generate a link. And we're going to actually generate a deep link, which is what will allow someone to click on the link to bring them right to the skill view of our choosing. So we've got our story here. Hit share. And now we're in the share skill, and you can see that the theme is changed because we're no longer in the 8-bit stories namespace. Now that's something that you can control in your development environment, but for right now, you'll see as you move between skills, the skills will adopt the theme that's defined by the skill. This can be changed so that way a skill applies to an account or an organization or a location, so you can maintain consistency across experiences that span multiple skills. But again, in this case, the theme is tied to the 8-bit stories skill. Now we're at the invites share view controller, skill view controller, so it reverts back to the default theme. Then you were to fill this out. By the time you're done, it'll actually send a message. Now, locally it won't, but in production, it'll send a text message or push notification. Chances are the person you're sending this to will not already have something set up, so it'll send them a link, a deep link to the skill view of your choosing, which will be probably the read skill view in the 8-bit stories. Someone will click on it, load it up right away. So that's pretty easy, but getting a chance to practice the interoperability between skills here is a very important concept in the platform. So it'll be, while easy, very informative and helpful for when you start to build out entire products that use 10, 15, maybe even 20 different skills.